This day in sports history. It's April 11th, and I know there's a big golf tournament going on down in Georgia this weekend, and I'll talk a little golf in a few minutes. But let's start off on the ice and talk a little college hockey first. On this day in 2009, it was an amazing comeback in the Frozen Four final. It was the Miami Redhawks who wore the Cinderella slipper through the tournament. As a 4 seed in the West region, they had taken out top seed and the third-ranked team in the country, Denver, in the opening round, and then toppled the 2 seed Minnesota Duluth to advance to the Frozen Four. Now, just to clarify, the NCAA hockey tournament is 16 teams split into 4 regions, so advancing as a 4 seed to the Final Four is not the smoothest of roads. Bemidji State also happened to equal that in this tournament, and Miami beat them to advance to the final to face the number 1 team in the country in 2009, the Boston University Terriers. And while it's a 60-minute game, it was the final 60 seconds that makes this game so spectacular. With 3:32 to play, the Redhawks held a 3-1 lead, and there was a face-off in the Terrier offensive zone, and feeling like he had to make a move, Boston head coach Jack Parker pulled his goalie, Kieran Milan. Miami played well against the extra skater. Goalie Cody Reichard made a couple of saves, and the Hawks even had an opportunity to score an empty netter, but an offsides call negated that chance. With just over a minute to play, Miami failed to clear the puck, and Boston capitalized with a goal by Zach Cohen to make it 3-2 with 59.2 seconds left. The arena PA announcer had just finished announcing the previous goal scorer when Boston scored again. Here's Gary Thorne calling the action that night for ESPN.
Centering backhander Wilson wide. Rebound held onto. 22nd in the middle. Pass. Score! Unbelievable! Boston University has scored 2 goals in the last minute and has tied this game at 3.
Boston's Nick Bonino rifled the shot past Reichard to tie the game at 3 with 17.4 seconds left. 2 goals in 42 seconds, and the game went to overtime. With 8 minutes, 20 seconds left in the OT period, Boston completed the mission.
Roeder couldn't get it out of there at the point. They'll go back and forth with it. Wind up shot, deflected, score! Cohen's shot goes in! And Boston University is your Division I champion, 4-3.
The puck ricocheted off a Red Hawk defenseman diving to the ice to deflect it. Instead, it popped up off of him and it went into the net. The 4-3 OT win gave Boston U their 5th NCAA title. Now, Boston U is back in the Frozen Four this year. They played late last night, but if they beat Penn State, they will play for their 6th tomorrow. Staying on the ice for this anomaly that happened in the NHL on this night in 1989. It was a first-round playoff series between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals. The series was tied 2 games apiece, but the Flyers were in control in this one, leading 7-5. With just over a minute to play, Caps goalie Pete Peters skated to the bench for the extra skater. Here's Doc Emmerich with the call that night.
And the Flyers are also shorthanded. And there may be time for a first for Ron Hextall in the playoffs. The situation would be right as Peters heads off right now. Hextall stops it. Look out. Down the ice. Will it make it?
It's got a chance.
He's got it.
Yes, sir. Yes.
The first time ever it's happened in the playoffs. Ron Hextall with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go.
That was the first goal scored by a goalie in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and it was also officially a shorty. The Flyers won the game and eventually the series, and you heard Emmerich hint at another Hextall first. He kind of had a history in this category. He was the first goalie to ever score a goal in any game when he put one in an empty net on December 8th, 1987. Hey, real quick, you've heard me talk a lot about the Sterling Soap Company over the past few months, and if you haven't tried out their soaps, I get it. It's not easy changing up your routine. But let me just say, if you give them a try, I'm nearly 100% certain you will have zero regrets. They carry not only bar soap, but shave soap, liquid body soap, body lotions, beard balm, lip balm, and a lot more. Plus, there are myriad scents to choose from. Their products are made with natural ingredients and scented oils, and they are committed to being environmentally conscious. And I always get a handwritten note on my packing slip, so I know it's been checked before shipping, and it's a nice little human touch in a world that seems to be going away from that. Give Sterling Soap a try today at sterlingsoap.com. Let's keep it strange with what happened on this day in 2003 when the Miami Heat retired Michael Jordan's number 23 jersey. And I'm going to let that run through your brain for a second or two as you wonder, wait, when did MJ play for the Heat? And the answer is, well, he didn't. It was Jordan's farewell tour in the NBA, and he was playing with the Washington Wizards at this point. It was a gesture orchestrated by Heat coach Pat Riley.
And in honor of your greatness, Michael, and for all you have done for the game of basketball, and not only in the NBA, but for all the fans around the world, we want to honor you tonight by hanging your jersey forever, number 23 from the rafters of the American Airlines Arena, and that no player ever again will ever wear number 23 for the Miami Heat here. You're the best.
Nice gesture, but a bit unusual? Well, a lot unusual, considering that guy beat your team a number of times in his 15-year NBA career. Jordan played against the Heat 38 times and averaged 30 points a game against them. In the playoffs, MJ kicked it up a notch against the Heat. In their 3 meetings in the playoffs in 92, 96, and 97, Jordan averaged 34 points in 11 games and sent them home all 3 years. Making it even a little more unusual, Jordan's 23 was the first number to be retired by the Heat. They would not retire an actual Miami Heat player's number until Alonzo Mourning's in 2009. In between Zoe's and MJ's number retirement, the Heat also retired Miami Dolphin Dan Marino's number 13. And as promised, to golf we go now. On this day in 1965, it was a 25-year-old Jack Nicklaus who toyed with the Augusta National course for the first 2 days like a cat plays with a mouse, and then he pounced on the weekend to stride to a win for the ages. Nicklaus overpowered the golf course, hitting wedges and short irons into par 4 greens and reaching a lot of the par 5s and 2. 63-year-old golfing legend Bobby Jones watched in amazement at how Nicklaus played his course, remarking at one point, "He simply plays a game with which I am not familiar." Coming into this tournament, the Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus rivalry was in full swing. Palmer entered as the defending champ and the owner of 4 Masters green jackets. Nicklaus had won 2 years prior. Add into the mix Gary Player, and this was a showcase of the big 3 of golf for the first 2 days. After Friday's round, Jack, Arnie, and Gary were tied for the lead, and at that point, with 15 golfers within 15 shots of the lead, it really was anybody's tournament. But Nicklaus seized control with a scorching course record 8 under 64 in the 3rd round. He birdied 5 of the first 8 holes, added 3 more on the back, and did not have a bogey to separate himself from the pack. He led Player by 5 and Arnie by 6. The way the Golden Bear was stalking the course, the only thing to decide on Sunday was how large his margin of victory was going to be. Nicklaus had a more pedestrian final round, firing a 3 under 69 to finish the tournament 17 under, and a 4-round total of 271. His 271 shots bested Ben Hogan's previous record at Augusta by 3 shots, and his 9-shot margin of victory over both Palmer and Player was also a new record. It was the second of 6 Masters wins for Nicklaus. On this day in 1976, Raymond Floyd closed out his impressive Masters victory with the same 4-day total as Nicklaus back in 1965 of 271, and he had an 8-shot margin of victory over Ben Crenshaw. Floyd's journey to 271 was a little bit different than Jack's 11 years before. Raymond came out of the gates firing at the pins, and he carded a 7-under-65 on Thursday. He followed that up with a 6-under-66 on Friday to take a 5-shot lead over, interestingly enough, Nicklaus. He put it in cruise control for the final 2 days, shooting 70 on Saturday and then Sunday to lead wire to wire. And while Nicklaus used a scorching hot putter to set his mark at 65, Floyd simply overpowered the par 5s for all 4 rounds, finishing 14 under on the par 5s with 12 birdies, an eagle, and 2 pars for the week. That was more than good enough for Floyd to win his first and his only green jacket. And on this day in 1966, after a 15-year stint in the minor leagues, Emmett Ashford became the first black umpire in Major League Baseball when he was the third base umpire on opening day in Cleveland. Ashford did not have an opportunity to make a call on this day, but it wasn't long until he was making his mark. Ashford was known for his theatrical calls, but soon was noticed for how well he tracked fly balls and flares into the outfield. Frank Robinson said that Ashford got a better break on the ball than most of the Major League outfielders. He earned the respect of players, managers, and even fans who enjoyed his exuberance making calls on the field. And since his debut in the majors was delayed, he only spent 5 years at the Major League level, retiring at the age of 56. And time now for That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports. Fun fact. You grew up with him as a kid and probably served it to your kids at some point without realizing that Chef Boyardee is not just a brand, but also a real person, though the spelling of Boyardee is different. Ettore Boiardi, spelled B-O-I-A-R-D-I, was born in 1897 in Piacenza, Italy. He was apprenticing as a chef by age 11, and when his family immigrated to America and settled in Cleveland, they opened an Italian restaurant. Diners loved his Italian dishes so much, they wanted to know how to make them at home, so he started packaging them up. Italian food was not very well known in the States at that point, and Chef Boyardee is largely credited with popularizing the cuisine in America. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.